When I discovered I was homeless, I felt quite scared, insecure, very alone.
To start with, I thought, oh, this is great, I'm going to have my own freedom and that. As soon as I got to the first place that I got put into, I just felt totally lost, like my stomach just totally dropped and all I wanted to do was cry for like the first 2 hours.
Well, once I had packed all my stuff up, I was kind of like, where am I going to go now? And then I went along to my dad's sister's. She just stayed along the road, and I was only meant to be there for a couple of weeks and ended up staying there for just over a year.
I never actually had a clue what to do. I stayed with my dad for like a week. My dad had said to us he didn't want me there, not because he didn't love me or that, just because he felt that I should live by my own, I should do my own thing.
Obviously, you don't expect to end up with not having anywhere to go. I think there was a slight thing of maybe a bit of betrayal as well, because it just kind of happened so suddenly. It's like, these are people I trusted and kind of living with them and so forth, and then all of a sudden they just turn around and say that all that's going to change, so...
Just daily things, like even just like going to make a cup of tea and somebody's used the last of the milk. Just silly wee things like that, and because everybody's there all the time and we're all sort of living on top of each other, it just causes ridiculous arguments that are really unnecessary.
Well, the tension coming in my family is my dad had started a new relationship with someone who kind of had children from a previous marriage, and kind of favoured them over us. So me being the oldest, my brother was moved away to live with my mum, and then it kind of felt like things were then directed at me. It kind of felt like systematic, trying to get rid of the three of us, like my dad's children.
It was always arguing and nipping at each other, and most of the time I wasn't really in. Like, I would go out before my mum came home from work and I wouldn't get in until she was in her bed, so obviously she wasn't happy with that because she wasn't really seeing me. And then I would come in and start an argument with my brother and end up waking her up or something, and it was just a lot of tension altogether.
I think people get themselves into situations where they feel they have to leave home because they've done something or something's happened, but most of the time they won't have to leave home because it's just they can't face the music kind of thing. But sometimes you will get circumstances where people have to leave home because, like I say, family matters or anything like that. But there's a lot of people that are confused about leaving home and I think they people should actually stay at home.
For some young people and their parents, getting along can be difficult. Arguments can get out of control, and in some cases the relationship can break down for good.
Vanessa, no! If you go, don't you ever come back! I don't want to come back!
Amber is an independent mediation service offering support to young people between the ages of 14 and 24 and their families. We help them to find ways to communicate better with one another and strengthen their relationships. This video will tell you more about Amber and let you hear from some families about the difference our service has made to their lives.
Thanks for coming this morning. How are you feeling? Good.
The mediation process can last up to 12 weeks and involves a series of steps. The first step, referral, can either be made by an agency or by self-referral. Following referral, both parties will have a meeting with an Amber support worker who will explain the process and can offer signposting to other appropriate support. This is followed by a series of confidential pre-mediation meetings where both parties meet separately with a mediator and discuss how to make things better. When both parties feel ready, they will then meet together at a face-to-face meeting with the mediator present. Finally, once an agreement has been reached by both parties, Amber will follow up and offer signposting to other agencies if required.
It's about actually using someone who's neutral, who's a good listener, who can openly listen and find the common ground between two people and highlight that common ground. And whether that's a child and a parent, they've got an issue but they want to sort it out. And either they want to keep relationship and stay at home, or they want to keep relationship and move out. They actually want to resolve an issue and I enable them to do that.
And is she hassling you to kind of start thinking about work and college and stuff like that? Or
It's more just
Robbie was referred to Amber to help him and his mother rebuild their relationship after he had to move out of the family home and into hostel accommodation.
a couple of people.
After mediation, Robbie's mother was able to provide the support that he needed to be able to move into his own flat. As with all referrals, a member of the Amber team was in touch to set up a meeting within 24 hours of first contact.
Well, the way it was between myself and my mum before Amber was really heated all the time. It's kind of horrible because we both have our own camps and our own people backing us up in our camps and no sort of middle ground. So yeah, it was a horrible state of affairs. Our mediator that we had from Amber was a nice woman called Leslie. We each had our own sort of meeting with Leslie, and the third meeting we came together to put it together, but it's weird because you can't shout and you've got to, it's like playing a game of chess. You've got to put your piece down and then wait for them to put their piece and then you put your piece down.
She still lives in Berkman-Tweed, so
Yeah.
she comes up when she can.
Okay.
Without Leslie sitting there, I mean, I would have blown off the handle at least 4 or 5 times. So yeah, no, it's just sort of like a block of ice sitting in the room, keeping everybody cool. Now we can talk, or we can sit and watch TV, or we can eat together, or lots and lots of things. But I think the talking's the main point, because before we could talk for about 5 seconds and then an argument would break out. But no, we can sit for a whole day now, sort of just talking and being nice to each other.
And do minds as
Always
well.
do.
Elaine was referred to Amber in late 2007. Since then, we have helped Elaine and her daughter Vanessa to rebuild their relationship.
We never really spoke much. I mean, every time we did speak, we just argued. We basically just made each other's life hell.
There was problems with the teachers, with the class, with her attitude, just with everything. And it was coming into the house. I was watching that.
Who watches that in
But
2008?
you should have asked me. There is no need to be like that. One of the teachers suggested we met somebody from Amber. She felt that we could do with mediation for our relationship. At the time it was suggested, my husband and I had separated, so it really was me and Vanessa on our own, and we had to get that relationship sorted out.
At the face-to-face meeting, me and my mum had to write down what we wanted to change or what was going wrong. We had uninterrupted time where one of us got to speak and then the other one would listen instead of just butting into each other's conversation, having a big argument over it.
You need somebody there to put the brakes on and say, right, no, that's not what we're here to discuss, because it's so easy to keep going over the same issues which we had been doing.
We have more respect and just, instead of shouting's not going to get you anywhere, just to talk more and just keep a bit calmer really.
leaving home at 17 is not easy. And even if you do have somewhere else to go, it doesn't always work out, and it can end up causing more stress and more heartache than you would think.
If there's an argument and you're thinking about leaving, then just sort of let things calm down a wee bit and get to a place where you're no shouting and arguing and things are calmer, and talk about it reasonably. Don't just get up and leave, because it's not the best thing to do. You're left with a lot of regrets.
Try not and argue about the slightest thing, and if there is a proper reason for an argument, try and resolve it as good as you can, because you don't want to end up in like a place like this at 16. I've seen people at 16 being here, and you can tell that they're struggling, so I wouldn't advise it.